Hey guys, what's going on? DJ here from DonovanBarrettJr.com, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about mindset, the difference between the wealthy mindset and the poverty mindset. This is important because if you want to become an entrepreneur or you're on your journey to changing over to an entrepreneurial state of mind, you have to make this subtle shift from the employee mindset to the entrepreneur mindset. That's the difference between a wealthy mindset and a poverty mindset. This is your ruling mental state. So in this video, you're going to be identifying your ruling mental state. Your mindset is a key component to success. It can create a prosperous life and business, or it could create a life full of misery and a business filled with failure. Many of the working class citizens have limiting beliefs. The majority of working class citizens think things like, I have no control over my life and circumstances. That's not true, because you have full control over your life. You might not have control over all your circumstances, but you have control over how you react to the circumstances that are presented to you. They think, I want to be rich, but they don't truly believe that they can be rich. Anybody can say, yeah, I want to be rich, but they might have deep-seated beliefs in their limiting paradigm that they developed as a child that hold them back from actually attaining the success that they want, because on a subtle level they don't truly believe they can be successful because of something they saw growing up or something that is holding them back in their mind. The majority of working class citizens have failed at doing something one time in the past, so they think and believe that they won't be able to succeed at doing it again in the future. This holds them back because they don't believe in themselves, and they won't be able to get anywhere if they don't have belief in themselves and in doing the task at hand. Many people resent wealthy people, and they surround themselves with negative and unsuccessful people. Wealthy people don't surround themselves with unsuccessful and negative people. Most people in poverty do this, and this is why they remain in poverty. They don't change the people they surround themselves with, and they don't change their attitudes towards the rich and wealthy people. And people in poverty think small. They focus on limitations, and they always have this wishing and hoping attitude. They think small about how their life can be, their mission, their jobs, and their goals. They focus on what is holding them back instead of focusing on what they can do to get over the limitations, and they are always wishing to have this happen. They always wish to hit the lottery. They hope to hit the lottery, and they hope to become successful one day, but they don't want to take the action in order to bring that success into their lives. So now we're going to talk about wealthy people, their mindset, how they perceive life to be. The wealthy mindset is very different from the poverty mindset that the majority of working class citizens have. Wealthy people have empowering beliefs that help them accomplish more and attain whatever they desire in life. They have beliefs like, I create my life, and I am in control of my future. I personally believe this because when you come to realize that you can create whatever you want, then you can go out to actually take the actions necessary to create that in which you want. And once you actually manifest it, this will give you unshakable proof that you are the creator of your life, and you can control what you attract into your life and control the future that you create for yourself. Wealthy people are committed to being successful. They're committed to the journey it takes to become successful. They don't just want to be successful, they are committed to being successful. There's nothing holding them back but themselves from attaining their success, and they truly believe that. Wealthy people admire and respect other wealthy and successful people. Unlike people with a poverty mindset, they don't resent rich and wealthy people. They respect and admire them, and they see them for who they are, and the wealth they created is just a byproduct of the value that they added into the world, and they respect that. Wealthy people are constantly learning and growing. People with a poverty consciousness, people with a mindset of poverty, aren't continuously learning and growing. They think that they know all they need to know, and they don't take self-development and self-empowerment seriously. They don't really focus on learning and growing. This is one of the major things that separates the wealthy people from the people in poverty. Wealthy people surround themselves with positive and successful people. Like I said, with the poverty mindset, other people in poverty surround themselves with negative and unsuccessful people. You are the outcome of the 5 total people you surround yourself with most. So if you're surrounding yourself with 5 people who don't care about their lives, don't care about growing and succeeding, who resent rich and wealthy people, you are the outcome of those 5 people, and your results in your life will be based around that. And do you see why successful people create more success? They surround themselves with people who don't think that way, who are learning and growing, who want to better themselves and the world around them. And that's why they create more success for themselves and other people. If you want to create a life that you can enjoy living, you have to first develop a mindset conducive to allowing that lifestyle to manifest. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to earn more money, but nobody wants to take the action, put in the hard work, and commit themselves to creating that life for themselves. I believe that if you develop these beliefs, you will begin to manifest the life that you want to create. You will take the first step towards growing and learning more in order to live the life you want to live, in order to make the money you want to make, in order to travel to the places you want to travel, in order to ultimately be happy. Because everybody wants to be happy. At the base root of everything is happiness. That's all we want, is happiness. And we use money as a medium to attain that happiness. But like I said, develop these empowering beliefs of wealthy people, and you will be on the right track to manifesting the lifestyle of your dreams. But before I end this video, I want to share with you something I found empowering. It's a video that talks about wealth distribution in America. I found this video to be very shocking, even though I actually knew about the wealth distribution in America, but I didn't see it as dramatic as the video detailed it to be. So here's the video.
Harvard business professor and economist asked more than 5,000 Americans how they thought wealth was distributed in the United States. This is what they said they thought it was. Dividing the country into 5 rough groups of the top, bottom, and middle 3 20% groups, they asked people how they thought the wealth in this country was divided. Then he asked them what they thought was the ideal distribution. And 92%, that's at least 9 out of 10 of them, said it should be more like this. In other words, more equitable than they think it is. Now that fact is telling, admittedly, the notion that most Americans know that the system is already skewed unfairly. But what's most interesting to me is the reality compared to our perception. The ideal is as far removed from our perception of reality as the actual distribution is from what we think exists in this country. So ignore the ideal for a moment. Here's what we think it is again. And here is the actual distribution. Shockingly skewed. Not only do the bottom 20% and the next 20%, the bottom 40% of Americans barely have any of the wealth. I mean, it's hard to even see them on the chart. But the top 1% has more of the country's wealth than 9 out of 10 Americans believe the entire top 20% should have. Mind-blowing. But let's look at it another way, because I find this chart kind of difficult to wrap my head around. Instead, let's reduce the 311 million Americans to just a representative 100 people. Make it simple. Here they are. Teachers, coaches, Firefighters, construction workers, engineers, doctors, lawyers, some investment bankers, a CEO, maybe a celebrity or two. Now let's line them up according to their wealth. Poorest people on the left, wealthiest on the right, just a steady row of folks based on their net worth. We'll color code them like we did before based on which 20% quintile they fall into. Now let's reduce the total wealth of the United States, which was roughly $54 trillion in 2009, to this symbolic pile of cash. And let's distribute it among our 100 Americans. Well, here's socialism, all the wealth of the country distributed equally. We all know that won't work. We need to encourage people to work and work hard to achieve that good old American dream and keep our country moving forward. So, here's that ideal we asked everyone about. Something like this curve. This isn't too bad. We've got some incentive, as the wealthiest folks are now about 10 to 20 times better off than the poorest Americans. But hey, even the poor folks aren't actually poor, since the poverty line has stayed almost entirely off the chart. We have a super healthy middle class with a smooth transition into wealth. And yes, Republicans and Democrats alike chose this curve. 9 out of 10 people, 92%, said this was a nice, ideal distribution of America's wealth. But let's move on. This is what people think America's wealth distribution actually looks like. Not as equitable, clearly, but for me, even this still looks pretty great. Yes, the poorest 20 to 30% are starting to suffer quite a lot compared to the ideal, and the middle class is certainly struggling more than they were, while the rich and wealthy are making roughly 100 times that of the poorest Americans and about 10 times that of the still healthy middle class. Sadly, this isn't even close to the reality. Here is the actual distribution of wealth in America. The poorest Americans don't even register. They're down to pocket change. And the middle class is barely distinguishable from the poor. In fact, even the rich between the top 10 and 20 percentile are worse off. Only the top 10% are better off. And how much better off? So much better off that the top 2 to 5% are actually off the chart at this scale. And the top 1%, this guy, well, his stack of money stretches 10 times higher than we can show. Here's his stack of cash, restacked, all by itself. This is the top 1% we've been hearing so much about. So much green in his pockets that I have to give him a whole new column of his own, because he won't fit on my chart. 1% of America has 40% of all the nation's wealth. The bottom 80%, 8 out of every 10 people, or 80 out of these 100, only has 7% between them. And this has only gotten worse in the last 20 to 30 years. While the richest 1% take home almost a quarter of the national income today, in 1976, they took home only 9%, meaning their share of income has nearly tripled in the last 30 years. The top 1% own half the country's stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. The bottom 50% of Americans own only 0.5% of these investments, which means they aren't investing. They're just scraping by. I'm sure many of these wealthy people have worked very hard for their money. But do you really believe that the CEO is working 380 times harder than his average employee? Not his lowest paid employee, not the janitor, but the average earner in his company. The average worker needs to work more than a month to earn what the CEO makes in 1 hour. We certainly don't have to go all the way to socialism to find something that is fair for hardworking Americans. We don't even have to achieve what most of us consider might be ideal. All we need to do is wake up and realize that the reality in this country is not at all what we think it is.
As you can see from that video, we are not as well off as we might think we are. The top 1% has more than 42% of the nation's money. Now that is ridiculous. You might say, yeah, those people are rich and wealthy, So that means they have different beliefs and a different mindset from the poverty and lower class people. Yes, that is true, and that's why they want to keep you suppressed and not teach you things like what I've taught you today, the mindset shift that I'm giving to you. They don't want you to learn this because they want to keep you below that poverty line. They want to keep all the wealth for themselves. And by you learning this information and empowering yourself and integrating it within your life, you can take a portion of that wealth away from them and empower yourself and create the life that you want to live in order to empower other people and make more money in your life and help other people make more money within their life so that we can all live equally and all have an abundance of money to live our lives healthily. But I hope you enjoyed this presentation I shared with you today. But that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, was the difference between the poverty and the wealthy mindset. Like, comment, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know if you enjoyed this presentation, let me know if you've gotten any value out of it, and share with me the insight you received. This has been DJ Barrett from DonovanBarrettJr.com. Leave me some insight for any recommendations that you'd like me to make for some videos, and I'll talk to you guys later.